Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Higurashi. So, we last left off halfway through our game session, and I think we'll be able to finish it today. Now, where were my opponents? Everyone was headed to the table corresponding to the number on their ticket. The competition at my table was... these two, huh? They look younger than me. Huh? We're introduced to two important characters, Classmate A and Classmate B. Also known as Tomita. Okamura-kun greeted me by nodding his head. So my opening round was to be against juniors from my school. Just saying, but it seemed like a pretty easy matchup. Lucky. Time to destroy them without mercy. With Mion's declaration, the inside of the store suddenly became lively. Everyone was yelling their favorite games at each other, trying to gain an advantage before they started. Even my two classmates, who seemed taciturn at first glance, began to fiercely insist on their own games as soon as the signal was given. Of course, I would kick their suggestions aside. There was absolutely no reason to pick a game your opponent was good at. Of course, they didn't agree to the games I suggested either. I could only smirk bitterly. Naturally, after 5 minutes, this table couldn't agree on a game. Obeying the rules, we asked the store owner to decide on a game. Clearing his throat, the shop owner brought over a board game from the back of the store. He's just gonna pull all these games that he's had such a hard time selling. It was a game called Billionaire. Quite the vintage we have here. Come to think of it, if you lose, you have to buy this game. That shop owner, was he using this competition to get rid of all the games he couldn't sell? Almost certainly. The two nodded in agreement, and finally the game was underway. Is this the game of life? At that time, I already had a feeling of impending crisis. I wouldn't realize why until the game had progressed a bit.
1、2、3、4出産祝いをもらう全員から$5,000もらう悪いね
Okay, I built a bit of a lead.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8とボーナス銀行から$10万もらう
What? The tables were turned in an instant?
1、2、3 出世コースに進む
Whoa, that's a good route. It seemed like only my piece was landing on the steady spaces. I had doubts as to why Mion didn't bring out board games for club activities, but that reason was laid bare to me before my eyes. That's right. I had only realized it now. This game was completely based on luck. What could I possibly do to make sure I ended up in first place at the end? The ultimate outcome of this game was decided in a place beyond human hands. How were the other club members doing? My eyes naturally wandered off to the other tables. Mion's table was... what? They weren't doing anything. Had they still not decided on a game? This naive idea existed to distract me from the most frightening possibility. Mion was lounging about, leisurely holding some juice she bought from the vending machine outside in one hand. When our eyes met, she gave me a look of ease. It couldn't be. She'd already finished? What game was it? That easily? It was probably too late to be concerned with that at this point. Only 5 minutes since we started, and her two opponents were already beyond recourse. They were sitting there, slumped over in disappointment, muttering to themselves, trying to figure out where they went wrong. For that, they'd find no answer. Was there any reason for the defeat other than that they sat at the same table as Mion? Then what about Rina's table? The spectators were causing quite a commotion. Looks like their game was Karuta. The shop owner was apparently the one reading out the cards. Rina tended to dawdle along and space out a lot. Wouldn't she have a hard time with this game?
じゃあ読みますよ。犬も歩けばくたびれる。
Bam! At the same instant, the shop owner began sounding out the words. The card in question disappeared off the face of the table. No, the face of the earth. Impossible. Where did it go? It was against Rina's cheek. She was rubbing it there. Looking at the card Rina was rubbing against her cheek. It was some anime-themed version of Karuta, with rather cute moe illustrations decorating the cards. Basically, it was a picture of a pretty dog girl with a slightly large chest, panting and half in tears as she was being pulled along in a chain. With those type of pictures, even I could play with godlike speed. Of all the people to play that game, it had to be Rina. It was entirely possible that her fingertips were on the verge of breaking the sound barrier.
決まったね。
Mion smiled coolly. Seeing no further reason to keep watching, she turned back. After that, the second card being read out, such decisive sounds echoed. Well then, how about Satoko? Oh, she was playing a rather orthodox game. Concentration. Judging from the distressed look on Satoko's face, it seemed that she was struggling somehow. One of the main characteristics of concentration is that the pace of the game speeds up as it goes on. As the number of cards to memorize decreases, it becomes easier to match several pairs in a row. It wouldn't be exaggeration to say that the first person to take over the flow of the match can run away as the winner. The cards still in play had decreased. If you memorized the cards that had been turned over before, you should have a good chance to sweep the table at this point. Satoko probably knew the position of all the remaining cards. However, her turn came a little too late. If her opponent followed up, the match would be decided.
悪いけど僕も優勝賞金を狙ってるんだ悪く思うなよ
Young boy! This guy, did he have the locations of the remaining cards memorized? He was completely certain of his victory. The tension on his face relaxed.
決まったな
I whispered that in a bored manner as I turned my attention back to my own game. I spun the wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
えそんな確かにここはハートのエース
There was a commotion at Satoko's table as the shout rang out. The other two at my table turned around in surprise. I didn't. After all, there really wasn't anything to be surprised about. The onlookers were confounded, most of them certain that the Ace of Hearts should have been there. There's no way. I must be seeing things. It must have been because I was excited. So assured in his victory, the distress over his defeat ran deep. That's how it is. If his opponent wasn't Satoko, then the Ace of Hearts certainly would have been there. What a fool. When you're up against Satoko, you can't let your guard down for a moment until the battle is over.
あら、ケイチさんの勝負はまだつきませんの？センスないですわね。
With a refined tone of voice reserved only for winners, Satoko called out to me. For the casual observer, It must have looked like she only eked out a victory. From my point of view, however, she was only playing around. The roles of winner and loser had already been decided. It was nothing more than child's play. The laughable part about it was that her opponent didn't know his role had already been assigned.
やるじゃねえか。ハートのエースなんておしゃれな罠をかけやがって。
相手を仕留める罠はほんのちょっぴり。それも1個で十分ですよ。
Satoko was a trapper. Her true talent was never having one misfire. Setting off only one trap was more than enough. Ain't that cool? The fact that the other club members were winning one after another with their own brand of play only added to my impatience at my own lack of progress. Oh, right. How is Rika-chan doing? How is our club's sly little fox doing? What the heck is that? Over in that corner, the mood at that table was decidedly different from the others. The game at Rika-chan's table was... You know that battery-powered fishing game? The one where the fish open and close their mouths as they rotated on the platform, and use a magnetic fishing rod to pick them up. That old thing. What's that game called? Oh, that's gonna kill me. Hold on. Looks like it's called Gone Fishing. Good enough. It seemed that they planned on competing by seeing who could catch the most fish, but it had become an atmosphere you could hardly call competitive.
わあ、釣れましたですよ。
うまいうまい。リカちゃんうまいよ。おっとっと、また釣られちゃったよ。リカちゃんはうまいな。
I knew that Rika-chan had already charmed her opponents, along with the onlookers, before the matches had even begun, but this was brilliantly played. That corner had become an informal meeting of the Rika Furude fan club.
リカちゃんの圧勝だよ。圧勝だよ。リカちゃん、お魚釣りうまいんだね。
リカちゃんが釣ってるのは多分魚じゃないと思うな。
Hearing that, she glanced over my way briefly. This is my way of getting serious. That's what I heard.
リカにしかできない、リカだから許される大技ですわね。
Yeah, the masterful technique.
前原さんの番ですよ。
ああ、すまんすまん。俺の番か。1、2、脱税の追徴課税。5万ドル支払う。
In contrast, my game, what an unseemly situation this was. Unseemly. Noticing the uneasiness creeping across my face, my companions came to see how I was doing.
あれ？ケイチ君、ひょっとして苦戦かな？苦戦かな？岡村、あなた今いくらぐらい持ってたんですの
Okamura, who had wrung lots of money out of the elite course, began to count through a stack of white $100,000 bills.
98万ちょいくらいかな。
富田はどれくらいお金持ちですか？
僕は88万ドル。まだまだ逆転できる位置だね。
Those two, it looked like they would easily surpass $1 million.
で、ケイちゃんはいく
I
ら
have $3.20. Mion's tone of voice was grim from the get-go. It was her disappointment and disgust as club president.
仕方ねえだろ。このゲームルーレット回す以外に何も作戦がないんだぜ。イカ様があるとしたらなんだよ。2人に目をつぶって100数えてもらって、その隙にルーレットに細工でもするのか？そんなのできるわけねえだろ。
Rika-chan gently pet my head. Still, she wasn't too happy.
無様ですわね。一度は好敵手と思ったのに幻滅でしたよ。投げちゃダメだよ、ケイチ君。何か逆転があるはずだよ。頑張ろう。最後まで頑張ろう。
Like I said, how am I supposed to make a comeback with this game relying entirely on luck? Right, Mion? Mion's face, however, was almost unbelievably indifferent, like she was watching something completely unexciting. She then turned her back without saying a word.
Oi, Mion.
It was a pathetic voice that irked even myself. Maybe this is why they needed to kill him. He wasn't good enough for the club.
本気ってなんだよ。気合でルーレットの目をコントロールしろってのかよ。そんなのできるかよ。
本気のケイちゃんならそのゲームでも開始10秒で蹴りをつけてたね。
兄ちゃん、そんなに怒ることないよ。待ってよ。
Mion, in a bad mood, cast me aside and disappeared into the depths of the shop. Maybe it was because it had become an awkward situation, but the spectators dispersed from around my table. Dang it, are you saying I'm not serious about this? Are you saying that if I were serious, I would have settled this game of chance in 10 seconds? If I were serious, everyone was praying for my victory. They believed in me. Did I betray their expectations? Was it because I wasn't serious? Ugh.
ゲーム進めます?
The two of them were timidly trying to resume play. I didn't respond to that. The table sunk into silence.
前原君は投了でいいかな。
The owner, thinking I was forfeiting, started to announce the cancellation of the game. At that moment, the demon inside me let loose a howl, and awakened. I get it now, Mion. What it means for me to be serious. I'll show you! I clamped my hands on their shoulders, speaking in a low voice after pulling them closer.
富田君、岡村君、取引しよう。俺を勝たせろ。
You know, how do you even, like, lose the game of life? Like, without cheating, of course, like giving people money and stuff, like, how do you lose? Because it is entirely based on luck. The two of them, not immediately understanding what I had just said or the meaning behind it, were momentarily confused.
前原さん、暴力はなしですよ。ちゃんとゲームで勝敗を。
話は最後まで聞け。お前らの望みは何だ。優勝して5万円か。
そりゃそうですよ。5万なんて大金。二度とないチャンスですよ。
仮に優勝したとして、お前らその5万で何をする？どんな楽しみ方をする？
The two of them considered it briefly.
新しいゲーム買うとか、お菓子とか、ジュースとか。
小せえ小せえ。バカかお前ら。
I like the evil voice we got going on here, it's good.
じゃあ、前原さんが勝ったら、どんな楽しみ方があるって言うんですか？
俺か？そこが本題だ。今から言うことを黙って聞け。
We club members have a penalty game separate from the casual participants. If we lose, we have to obey a single command from the winner. From another point of view, the winner earns the prize of being able to order the other club members around.
まず富田君、君は里子萌えだよな。否定すんな。そして岡村君、君はリカ萌えだな。赤くなるな。
I drew the two of them red-faced and conscious of whether anybody else heard what I just said, even closer.
萌え。一生男の戦線、男のロマン。例えるなら永遠にたどり着けないエデンの園。だけど目指すんだろう。それは俺たちのハートに熱い魂が燃えよと叫ぶからだ。
That sensitive age where you couldn't say you liked the girl you liked. Understanding that gave me all the more power.
俺が優勝したら富田君、里子を一日首輪付きで君の妹にしてあげよう。
The red fountain spewed from both of Tomitake-kun's nostrils.
そして岡村君、君には猫耳リカちゃんに手綱をつけてお散歩させてあげよう。
Blood erupted from the vein in Okamura-kun's forehead.
そんな
うるたえるな。お前たちは俺に無理やり付き合わされたことにすればいいんだ。前原先輩のわがままの犠牲者なだけいやいやでいいんだよ。分かってる。お前たちの胸の内は全部分かってる。
Then I suddenly lowered the tone of my voice.
俺は灰色の学校生活を送ってきた。それがどんなにつまらなく人生の大切な時間を浪費したことになるのか身をもって知った。だから後輩のお前たちにはそんな時間を過ごしてほしくないんだよ。自分に素直になれ、夢を追え、そして叶えろ。俺が叶えてやる。
It's taking longer than 10 seconds, I have to say. It was this moment that the values of men bridged generations. Did I ever have a mentor who spoke my mind for me so strongly? Never. There was no way there was. That's because in a man's lifetime, he'll only have 3 fateful encounters. That valuable first time was being experienced right this moment with these two.
じゃあいいな。行くぞ。せーの。
It was such an assertive declaration of the game's ending that everyone in the store turned and looked. It had been less than 3 minutes since I was on the verge of forfeit, and all of the spectators certain of my loss.
ケイチさん、どうなりましたの？勝敗は？
俺の完全勝利だ。
なんですって？あの状況、どうやってひっくり返しましたの？
家庭なんか必要ないよな。男と男の決着だよな。ああ、みんな。
The two of them, stifling tears of gratitude, answered strongly from the bottom of their hearts. Exactly what kind of miracle occurred here during those 3 minutes? The spectators all looked away from my utter disadvantage. The spectators were puzzled at how I was able to so quickly overcome that hopeless situation. That guy, is he able to control the spinner wheel with his eyes or something? It's a miracle. What devilry is this? He's in cahoots with that Mion, you know. There's no doubt he had some strange trick up his sleeve. I looked at the crowd who couldn't help but be excited, out of the corner of my eye. Now fully awakened and in battle mode, I let out a derisive laugh.
これが俺の本気ってことだよ。ミオ。
遅えっての。
Bearing out fangs at each other, our fangs, we laughed together in a most unsightly fashion.
じゃあこれで部活メンバーが全員1回戦突破ですわね。ということは、今度はみんなで対決だね。対決だね。
It's like we're having a sports anime, but like card sports.
僕はもう賞金で買うものを決めていますです。もちろんですわ。ねえ。
Satoko and Rina smiled, sneered at each other. These guys. Do they really think they can win against Keiichi Maibara when he gets serious?
ミオ、失敗だったな。お前はさっき俺に助言すべきじゃなかったぜ。
ひよこが私に勝つなんて100万光年早いって。
ミオ、光年は距離の単位だぞ。
Oh, she's embarrassed, she's embarrassed.
どうするのみーちゃん。5人でどう戦うのかな。
さーて、 これだけ豪華な面々が揃ったんだからね。今日という日を急ぐのが惜しいよ。
ミーの言ってる意味が難しいです。
まさかてめえ。
Mion's hair flowed elegantly, almost like a cape, as she turned her back to the table.
今日の勝負を部長園崎美音が預からせてもらうよ。勝負方法と日時は未定。ギャラリーは多い方がいいね。南沢も沖宮も全ての人間の目の前でこれ以上ないくらい徹底的な決着をつけてあげるよ。
逃げる気ですの？いくらミオさんでも卑怯ですことよ。
ひよこが生かされたことにまだ気づかんか。
The combative aura billowing out of Mion's body formed a barrier, stopping Satoko's advance.
また会いましょう。せいぜい首でも洗っとくことね。
With a shrill laugh, Mion left the store. After a moment of silence, the crowd erupted into cheers. When will they resume the contest? Mion's serious. The other members did great too. That new guy, Maibara, he's got some strange power. He turned the tables in an instant.
絶対優勝してくださいよ。おう、ミオンなんざ逆さにしてサンズの川に叩き込んでやるぜ。
The part of the crowd that had apparently overheard the covenant between Tomita-kun, Okamura-kun, and myself erupted into a cheer again. Mion's going to win anyways. She's the undefeated Empress. I'm betting on Mion. No, it's going to be Rina with that ungodly speed. Satoko the trap artist. Rika the siren. It may be a long shot, but it'll be Maibara. However, right now I had no ear for those cheerful voices. Setting the stage for this huge match and then running away like that. I wasn't going to forgive Mion.